What's your name?
Geralt.
Like Geralt.
The season 1 finale of Netflix's The Witcher saw our guy Geralt of Rivia meeting up with the young Princess Ciri, who, it has been said, is his destiny. What exactly that means is a bit muddled, but that isn't the only big question that last episode posed. With season 2 right around the corner, there's no time like the present to recap Geralt's journey across the Northern Kingdoms.
None of us will have any peace until there are no monsters left in the world.
We meet Geralt of Rivia when he finds himself in a fight with a kikimora, which is more or less an aquatic spider roughly 1 billion times bigger than your average arachnid. This takes place in 1231, where our guy wanders into the town of Blaviken looking for work but finding a whole lot of nothing. It turns out these townfolks do not like witchers one bit, and the bartender even refuses to serve him. The princess-turned-bandit Renfri is nice enough to buy Geralt a drink, but they soon go their separate ways. Geralt ends up meeting with a sorcerer named Stregobor, who tries to pay him to kill Renfri, insisting it's the lesser of two evils. But guess what? Geralt doesn't go for that.
If I have to choose between one evil and another, then I prefer not to choose at all.
Despite himself, Geralt really likes Renfri, and after she offers to pay him to help her kill Stregobor and he declines, he begs her to leave so that she can have a life for a change. But Renfri still carries emotional scars from the attacks from Stregobor's men that left her a vagabond. And though she agrees to hear Geralt out, and they share a night of passion, she's right back to her revenge quest early the next morning. Geralt goes to town to stop Renfri from making a decision that she'll regret, but sadly that decision has already been made. He ends up in a truly wild fight scene with her men and eventually is forced to fight Renfri. The two are evenly matched, but in the end, she's felled by his blade. She tells him of a girl in the woods who is his destiny as she dies in his arms. The town people are not as grateful for his heroic acts as you might think, and they form a mob to force him out of town. This all earns him the title of the Butcher of Blaviken, which sounds awesome, but actually really bothers him throughout most of the rest of the series. The Witcher's first season kicks off with a bang, and you might find yourself wondering about pesky little details like what happened to all the other Witchers, and why is Geralt such a weird guy? Fortunately for you, Netflix released an animated prequel called The Nightmare of the Wolf between seasons 1 and 2 to flesh out some witchery backstory by focusing on Geralt's trainer, Vessemir. Taking us along for Vesemir's journey from lowly servant boy to rakish, money-obsessed witcher to the stoic white wolf, this film gives us a little bit of world building outside of Geralt's story. Here, we meet Tetra Gilchrist, the mage who very nearly wiped the Witchers out of existence. As she appeals to the king to help her in her war against the Witchers, she is opposed by Lady Zerbst, who calls upon Vesemir to assist Tetra in vanquishing the monster Kitsu. Lady Zerbst knew Vesemir in his childhood, but when he left to become a Witcher, he left her behind. This shows them rekindle their romance, though you can probably guess that it doesn't end great for our girl. Tetra has a lot of great reasons to despise the Witchers, but she's allowed her hatred of them to twist her into a creature bent only on revenge. Vesemir gives her the benefit of the doubt and calls upon his fellow Witchers to lower their swords, only to see them murdered en masse when Tetra refuses mercy. Lady Zerbst facilitates the escapes of the young Witchers because she is a cool lady. After, oh my god, the sickest fight scene I've ever seen in my life between Vesemir and Tetra, a whole lot of people are dead, and the once boisterous Vesemir decides to become a teacher to the few remaining boys. Plus, we get to meet tiny Geralt as he barely avoids certain death, maybe for the first time, but definitely not the last. Guess what? He's cute. Look at that adorable kid. Already well on his way to becoming a strange guy. But wait, let's get back to season 1 and the year 1206, where a young disabled woman named Yennefer was busy getting treated like absolute garbage by her terrible dad and various townfolk. After she showed a sudden burst of mage-like power, a sorceress named Tisea bought Yennefer for an insultingly small amount. Tisea takes Yennefer to train at Aretuza, which is sort of like a fun wizard school if you took the fun part out. Though Tisea is what could at best be referred to as a frenemy, she recognizes Yennefer's inner magic even when Yennefer doesn't. Besides, it turns out that Yennefer is a very promising student, and she even starts up a romance with Stregobor's pupil, Istrid. These two are very into each other, but Yennefer wants to be free of her visible disability. She gives up her ability to give birth and becomes hot Yennefer, crashing a party and letting Istrid know that it's over while simultaneously making it very clear to Tisea that she's going to live life by her own rules. But wait, way after any of this stuff happened, Cintra is getting decimated in a war against the invading Nilfgaard in 1263. The young princess Ciri finds herself totally powerless as her kingdom is destroyed. Her grandfather dies on the battlefield and her grandmother returns only to bid her a tearful goodbye as their city falls. Ciri is sent away in hopes of saving her life, but when a threatening knight dressed all in black tracks her down, she surprises him by letting out an immensely powerful scream that causes the earth to crumble. By the skin of her teeth, Ciri escapes. Ciri makes friends with an elf boy named Dara, and the two of them find their way to Brokilon Forest, where they meet and join a group of dryads. The queen allows Dara and Ciri to join their group, and that could have been the end of things if a doppelganger didn't kill her tutor Mousesack and steal his form. Both Ciri and Dara follow the Doppelmousesack out of the forest, but she and Dara quickly realize that something is amiss. The doppelganger attacks, and though Dara is able to save Ciri, he is angry that she made him leave the forest and leaves her to continue her journey alone. So, what's Geralt been up to? Well, he made a friend. Kind of. In the bard, Jaskier. Despite being a bit on the annoying side, Jaskier writes songs to build the legend of Geralt, and it works. Though anti-Witcher sentiment runs strong, Geralt is sought after for his abilities thanks to his hype man. The two go on a few fun side quests, one of which shows them being attacked and captured by a goat-like Sylvan named Torque. In a dank cave, they are nearly put to death by an elven king, but Geralt implores the elves to move on rather than die for land that the humans will take soon regardless. A few years later, Geralt agrees to take on the job of fighting a stryzga, a legendary monster created by a curse. He discovers that the creature was the result of a courtier who learned of the king's affair with his sister and cursed the child. Geralt realizes all of this a bit too late, and because he doesn't wish to kill the unfortunate monster, he fights her until dawn and is able to save her. In 1249, Geralt finds himself in the court of the Queen of Cintra, who you might remember as Ciri's grandmother, Calanthe. She seeks to create a union between kingdoms and has betrothed her daughter Pavetta to a pretty terrible guy. Pavetta's lover, the knight Duny, who was cursed with a hedgehog-like appearance, arrives in the court as a potential suitor. Calanthe orders Geralt to kill Duny, but Geralt refuses. This allows Pavetta and Duny to have a temporarily happy ending as her powers activate. His curse is lifted, and the queen decides to live and let live. As the timelines start catching up with each other, we arrive in 1256, the year where Yennefer and Geralt meet. When Jaskier is made ill by a reckless djinn, Geralt pulls him along to find a mage. Yennefer is busy taking in the scenery at an orgy, but she heals Jaskier, and she and Geralt are immediately very into each other and start an on-again, off-again thing. In 1262, they cross paths again when both are asked by the dragon fighter Bork and his companions Teia and Vea to go on a good old-fashioned dragon hunt. Yennefer has taken up with a knight who is absolutely the worst, but he dies pretty quickly due to being adult. Still, this doesn't resolve the differences between Yennefer and Geralt. Revealing that she joined the hunt in order to regain her fertility, Yennefer is upset when Geralt tells her she's being foolish. Also, it turns out that Bork was actually a dragon the whole time, so there's that. Instead of killing the dragon, the crew decides to fight to protect the dragon's egg, and a big fight breaks out. There's a lot of twists and turns in this story, but the main thing is that Yennefer leaves Geralt, telling him that he has lost her forever. Geralt is hurt, and he breaks up with Jaskier too, traveling solo once more. The series took us on a lot of fun tangents throughout Season 1, but it was all leading up to the Battle of Sodden Hill. Yennefer has another temporary lapse in judgment and reaches out to Istrid, who rejects her. She then returns to Aretuza and teaches, but discovers that a lot has changed over the years. As Nilfgaard conquers city after city, Tissaia implores Yennefer to pledge to fight. The Nilfgaardians attack Sodden Hill as Yennefer and the mages make a last stand. This battle is epic and bloody, and backstabbing abounds, but Tissaia and Yennefer stand strong with the others. Yennefer creates a massive burst of flame, barely avoiding roasting Tissaia, and seems to vanish into thin air. Meanwhile, Geralt again found himself in conflict with the Queen when he came to ask after Ciri. He was briefly imprisoned, though the Queen tried to send Ciri with him to safety, only to find that he had escaped, which is more or less how this whole mess started back in Episode 1. Geralt is injured in a fight against scavenger monsters, but a merchant saves his life. In bouts of delirium, he sees his mother Vicenna, who abandoned him as a child. Forced to become a Witcher, Geralt's trouble with women began. Yet, when he awakens, he hears tell that Ciri is close, and the two of them finally meet. This is a pretty epic moment, but Ciri immediately asks,
Who is Yennefer?
Leading us to believe that our favorite morally complicated mage may yet live. Wait a second, so who won the war after the Battle of Sodden Hill? Did Yennefer survive? Is Geralt going to train Ciri? Chances are we're about to find out in Netflix's The Witcher Season 2. For more recaps like this, check out the Matrix saga leading up to Resurrections, and for literally everything else, be sure to subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.
Fear is an illness. It can consume you.